Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing my birth story. So I just had this little girl a week and 1 day ago, and it's so sad. She's already getting so much bigger, and I can just tell she's changing so much, and it just breaks my heart. I love her so much. Her name is Delilah Marie, and she is literally perfect. She is everything I've ever wanted. And she's just adorable and precious, and she's just the best. I love being a mom. It's literally the best thing ever. And I'm only a week into it, so I know it's just gonna be so amazing. But let me tell you guys my birth story because it was a lot. It was pretty positive for the most part, but it hurt. It was a little traumatic for a little bit. And I'll get into it, but yeah, let me tell you guys the full story. So leading up to giving birth, so at my 34-week appointment, I went in and they took my blood pressure and it was a little bit high. It was 130, I believe. And then they were like, okay, let's just check it at the end, because sometimes like people come in and they're like nervous or like they like rush to get to the appointment, so their blood pressure can be a little bit high. So then they checked it again at the end and it was 124. I don't remember like over what, but I know it was 124. And then they're like, okay, that's fine because it's been like that before. So I just went on with my day and that appointment went good. And then my next appointment was my 36-week appointment. And at my 36-week appointment, they checked my blood pressure again. And it was, I don't think they told me at my 36th week, but they were like, it's high. So they came back and checked it and it was high again. So then they were like a little bit worried. So they sent it up to labor and delivery. And in labor and delivery, they just kept checking my blood pressure over and over again for like, I think like 45 minutes. And then once I got like good readings, like my last reading, I think was like 120. I can't remember. I think it was somewhere around there. And they're like, oh yeah, it's good. Like, just make sure you, once you come into your next appointment, just tell the nurses and your doctor that the first reading is always high and then it calms down. So yeah, they let us go. And then at my 30, it was 36 in a couple days because they forgot to do the GBS swab because they sent us up to labor and delivery. So they made us come back a couple days later, and I got my blood pressure taken again and it was high. I think it was like 155 this time. And so they sent us up to labor and delivery again, and they checked my blood pressure again, and then they did a blood test to see if I had like preeclampsia. And then my blood pressure ended up being fine after like checking it a couple times like last time. And then the next day they called us about my blood tests, and they said that everything was fine, that I didn't have preeclampsia, and that just to call them if anything like else happens between my next appointment. So yeah, everything was going good. And then at my 37-week appointment, the same thing happened. My blood pressure was high. I think I was 37 and 5 days. Yeah. Or yeah, 37 and 5 days. So, yeah, my 37 and 5 day appointment, my blood pressure was high again. So they sent us up to labor and delivery again, and they did the same thing, did my blood, and they checked my blood pressure, and it ended up being fine. Like my blood test all came out fine and everything. I didn't have any protein or any of that stuff. Just the hypertension, I believe, just the high blood pressure. But they were like, well, it's been high for like these past, since my 34-week appointment. So that was like, it's pretty much 38 weeks. So it's been for like a month. It's been like high readings. Even though they like calmed down, they're like still a little bit like nervous, since I would always get a high reading the very first one and then it'd be fine. So they were like, it's not like it's just happened one time. Like, no, it keeps happening. So they were like, we need to talk about inducing you. So they were like, we want to induce you tomorrow morning. And I was 37 in 5 days, and they're like, and we want you to come at 7 a.m. And I was like, oh my god, like I did not think that was gonna happen. So I was like, okay, because I was ready and I just wanted me and her to be healthy, and if that's what they thought was best, then yeah, I was like, okay, that's fine. But I was a little worried because we only had probably like 12 hours to get everything ready for to go into labor and delivery the next day. So that's the only thing I was like a little stressed about. Um, but then once we left our appointment, they ended up calling us and they're like, we accidentally messed it up and we scheduled too many inductions for tomorrow morning, but we want you to come 7 p.m. So I was happy about that because then I had a little bit more time to just clean and get everything done, like get all our laundry done. So then once we came home, everything was clean and just set up for her. We went into the hospital I was 37 and 6 days at 7 p.m. and they started inducing me. So for the induction process, they started with Cytotec. So Cytotec was a little like tiny little pill and it just stuck right here in your lip and you just let it dissolve. And I think it took like 30-ish minutes to dissolve. I'm not totally sure. But yeah, they were gonna give me one pill every 4 hours, 3 times. But once the first one dissolved, after an hour, I started having contractions every 2 minutes, every 2 minutes. And they were probably like a 4 and a 5. Like it was just so uncomfortable because it was happening every so often. And they were like, they weren't like totally like super bad pain, but like I was uncomfortable. Like I could not sleep. So yeah, that was not fun. And I think that went on for about like 6 hours to where for my next pill, when they were supposed to give me another one in 4 hours, they're like, no, like we're not going to give you another one because your body's having contractions so often. And they're like, you don't need any more, like your body's doing what it's supposed to be doing. But then after like the 6 hours, they came and checked me. Oh, let me tell you, so the day before they did a cervical check, my 37 and 5 day appointment, and I was 2 centimeters, and I don't know how much of waist I was because they just never told me, but they told me I was a little bit. So yeah, but then they checked me again after having contractions for the 6 hours, and I was only 2 centimeters still, and I was like, oh my god. And I can't remember how much like effaced I was. They told me I was just like a little bit still, so I don't know if I like changed at all for like those 6 hours when I was having contractions. And now that got me so annoyed because I was like, so what? I'm having all these contractions and just nothing's happening. Like it was just so painful, and I was just so annoyed because I was like, what is this pain for? Like if nothing's happening. So during those 6 hours, I tried to get in the bath one time because it was so painful, and the bath helped a lot. And then she was like, okay, get in the bath and then get in there for about like 30 minutes and then you can come out and then we'll see if the contractions are still the same or what happens. Because she said that once you get in the water, it's usually like kind of calm down a little bit. But once I got out, they were still the same every 2 minutes, and it was just so painful. So then after the 6 hours, they checked me, and then the doctor comes in. She was like, we want to do a Foley balloon. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've heard bad stories about this. And I was scared. And she was like, are you in pain? Or like, how do you feel? And I was like, no, like, I feel like I need like the epidural. Like, I don't feel that good. My husband, he was like, yeah, she's been talking about getting like the epidural, like she's in pain. And so yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, give me the epidural and then we'll do the Foley balloon. So I ended up getting the epidural, and that was not bad at all. Whoever says, well, from my experience, the epidural did not, like, you barely even feel anything. Like, you feel the little numbing, and the little numbing doesn't even hurt, like, at all. It was a good experience for the epidural so far. So far. Getting the epidural was fine. It was smooth. Everything was good. But yeah, once I got the epidural, like 3 minutes after getting it, I felt so good. And like my legs were feeling like numb, and I just felt so much better after having those contractions for so long. And I could like barely feel like little pressure. Like the pain totally went away, but not the pressure. So I could still feel like the pressure of the contractions, which I said is like what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to feel the pressure but not the pain. So yeah, I could still feel the pressure but no pain or anything, and I was just like so much more calm. So then they put the Foley balloon in, and they said it was gonna come out after I was 4 to 5 centimeters. So yeah, they put that in, and that did not hurt either, just because I was numb. I recommend getting the epidural so then you don't feel it. So I got the Foley balloon, and then I was finally able to sleep for a couple hours, probably like 3 hours. And then after they came back a couple hours later, probably this was around like 5 when they came and checked me again, and they pulled the balloon out, and I was 4 to 5 centimeters. And then the doctor came in and he was like, okay, we're gonna start trying to induce you like faster now, just because it was the morning, and they kind of wanted to do it slowly for like inducing me at night just so I could get some rest. But no, those contractions, I did not sleep. They were like, okay, we're gonna start speeding it up. So they were like, we're gonna give you Pitocin and we're gonna break your water. And they were like, you can pick one or the other, or we can do both. And I was like, whatever you guys think is best. So they're like, okay, yeah, let's do both. So then they broke my water and they gave me Pitocin. And then getting my water broken really did not feel like anything. It just felt like a warm water just coming out. So that really wasn't bad at all, but they're gonna say I had the epidural. So yeah, that, and then the Pitocin, it did not start hurting until an hour after. So I got the Pitocin and my water broke, and then an hour after, I started feeling little contractions. But let me put another thing in. So like during the hour, they said that the baby's heart rate was dropping. It was dropping to like 90 and 80 beats per minute. Like, it was scary. So they were like, they said that once I was having contractions, she would get on the umbilical cord. So they're like, we need to put more fluid back into the bag, your water bag. So they put an IV in there back into the bag, and they would put water inside of me and just flush it in, and it would come straight out, just so she wasn't straight on top of it. And that, I feel like that added to the pain, but it wasn't like terrible, but I think that added to it. Then after the hour is when I started feeling the Pitocin contractions, and I could just feel them. Like, I was telling her, the doctor and the nurse, I was like, I can feel them, but they're not like terrible, but I could feel them. I told her that they're worse than the cytotech contractions. Okay, I started feeling them, and then they told me, they're like, you can press this button every 15 minutes, it'll give you more epidural. So yeah, I started pressing that every 15 minutes for like 3 times. So then I pressed it, and because I could start feeling them, I started feeling the pain again, not just the pressure, like the pain. And so then I pressed it, and then 15 minutes would go by, and I would press it again. And by the 3rd time, like, it started to hurt like bad. Like, I was telling her, like, I could feel them. Like, it wasn't just a little bit. Like, it was pretty painful, and I was scared because I was like, this is gonna wear off and I'm gonna have to like do it naturally and stuff. And I was pretty scared. So then she was like, okay, well, keep pressing the button, and if anything, we could call the anesthesiologist back in here and tell him like you need more medicine. So then I was waiting to push the button for the 4th time, and I still felt the contractions like worse. They kept getting worse and worse and worse, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is not okay. Like, I need to get more medicine. So then nurse just left 2 minutes before, and I felt a super bad contraction, and I was like, oh no. So I was like, I told Will, I was like, you need to call the nurse back in here. So he pressed the button to call her back, and I was like, these are really painful, like, I need more medicine. And she was like, okay, let me call the anesthesiologist back in here, and so he could give you more medicine. And she was like, okay, what is your pain? And I was like, a 10 out of 10. Like, it was horrible. Like, I was feeling them, like actual contractions, like the epidural failed. Like, I could feel everything. So then the anesthesiologist and the nurse probably took like 5-10 minutes. Felt like forever though. But yeah, I was just having like contractions every like 1 to 2 minutes, and they were so painful, like bad pain, like the worst pain ever. Like, I can't even explain the bad pain. Like, it was just so horrible, and I just couldn't believe like you can feel that much pain. So then the anesthesiologist came in there, and he was like, okay, we're gonna give you like a lot of medicine. So the first 2 contractions are gonna feel the same. The 3rd one should feel better, and then for the 4th one, you shouldn't be able to feel much, just pressure, and you'll be smiling again. So I was like, okay, but I couldn't even talk to the anesthesiologist. Like, I was in so much pain. And oh my God, it was just so much pain. So then he gave me more medicine. So then the nurse was like, let's go through these contractions. And then once we get to the fourth one, we'll see what we're gonna do. So I went through the first one, still terrible pain. The second one, still terrible pain. The third one, still terrible pain. And she was like, okay, I don't think this is working. And then the fourth one, still terrible pain. And I was like, yeah, this is like not working. But I like couldn't even, like, you're so disassociated. Like, everything just, I don't know, the pain is so bad. You can't even, like, you just want the pain to stop. Like, you can't even like talk to people. You can't even like just like think. Like, it's crazy how much pain you're in and like how it makes you like that. So then she was like, okay, well, you probably are just ready to push. Your body just wants you to push. So then she checked me and I was 8 centimeters. But then she was like, okay, but we're gonna do some practice pushes. So she called the doctor in there. Doctor comes in. They were getting ready. Like, people were coming in and I was starting to practice push. And then I started pushing. So I guess I was to a 10 then because I started pushing and everything was ready. But then to say the epidural, it started working a little bit again. Like, I could still feel pain, but they weren't as bad as it was before, like when it completely failed. Like, I could still feel some pain, but it wasn't like as bad, which I was super thankful for because when I was pushing, also the pushing helps a lot. Like, it helps with the pain so much. So then I started pushing and then the doctor left again, and then just because he had to go help another girl. But yeah, I kept pushing, and then probably like 25 minutes into me practice pushing and pushing, they called the doctor back in because I was like, the baby was about to come out. And so the doctor comes in, everybody comes in. I pushed for 35 minutes and then she comes out, and that was the best experience ever. The labor, it was so horrible. Like, I remember after, I was like, oh my God, I never want to feel this pain again. And it was just terrible. But like, once they come out, it's like such a relief, and just the whole experience is so special and magical. And I just cannot wait to experience that again. Like, it's the worst pain ever, but it's like the best day ever. That was the best day of my life. And it brought me her, and she's so precious, and I love her so much. But yeah, I pushed for 35 minutes, and she weighed 6.1, and she was 19.75 inches. And then I had her at exactly 38 weeks because I got induced at 37 in 6 days. I had her the next day at 12:05 p.m. But yeah, that's pretty much my labor and delivery story. My epidural failed, which was terrible. The contractions are terrible, but it was literally the most magical day ever. Like, I would do that day over and over again because it was the best day ever. And it's just so crazy, your body just does all that. Like, I just love that day. She was healthy, I was healthy, everything was good. I did tear a little bit. I got a 1st-degree tear, but it wasn't bad. Like, once I got her out, like, you're just so focused on her. And even the, like, when they're stitching you, they put numbing, so you don't even feel that. Like, my birth experience, it was pretty painful because the Pitocin contractions were bad. It was an okay experience for getting induced. Like, the contractions were bad, but like, it was still like the best day ever. But yeah, that is my birth story. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I think I covered everything, but let me know if you guys have any questions, if I missed anything. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any of my videos, and I'll see you guys in my next video.